Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network for a special presentation about how to create a league in Strat-O-Matic basketball. This is Dave Little. We're coming to you live from the Dave Cave, and we are preparing for the 2022 Midwest Basketball League All-Star Game, which will take place on the channel this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central. The purpose of this video is twofold. Number one, we are going to demonstrate for some folks in the league that have not done this before how to create a league in the Strat-O-Matic basketball program. And secondly, we will populate the rosters and in so doing announce the players who will be participating in this year's All-Star festivities. So to start things off, we are in the software program. And we're going to start by creating a new league. Actually, no, we're going to model a league. And this will bring the teams over from last year. So we won't have to start those all over again from scratch. So the league that we are modeling is the 2021 All-Star Game. And the league that we're getting the data from, the players, are coming from the 2021 NBA file, the adjusted file that we use. It has the corrected minutes. And so we will be able to call this the 2022 All-Star Game. And we'll label that with the letter S. And we should be able to create this now. And so now when we go from year to year, if we see lost players, players who were in the league last year and not in the league this year, those would show up here. But we don't have any of those, so this text is blank. And we will set the games to hold and restart the league. And you see this populated last year's rosters. And so we're going to get rid of last year's rosters. We'll select the teams, player, team, release players. So now everybody is in the free agent pool and the rosters are empty. And so now we will begin to populate the rosters, starting with the free agents pool where all the players now live. First of all, we will populate the reserves for the Eastern Conference, the East Conference Globetrotters. They will be managed this year by Gary Jaluvka. So first we'll go in and we will update the team. And we can see that last year we called this team Sam because that was Sam Pearson. This year we'll call it GAR, Gare for Gary. We will update the year to 2021-22. Now, when I'm creating the official league file for the year, I will use these two boxes, actual games won and lost, to put last year's records in, so that when you see the standings for the year and the previous year's records, that's where this setting is done. We have the option to put the manager name and email in here if we're going to use the league file for our emails, but as you guys know, we do all that out of our spreadsheet. And so we will we'll just leave those blank. For the West Conference Generals, we will update that team to 2021-22. We'll keep the name Generals. Jeff Bombchill is still the manager of that team, and so we will be good to go for the team setup. Now, let's grab the players. First of all, for the East Conference Globetrotters, the reserves. Your reserves in the backcourt include Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons makes the All-Star team as a backup for the Eastern Conference. The other backup point guard is Trae Young. So we'll come and get Trae Young out of the free agent pool and bring him over to the Eastern Conference. Also in the backcourt is Paul George. So we will grab Paul George out of the free agent pool and bring him over to the Globetrotters. And finally, the first ever Nature Boy who has made the All-Star team, and that is a sensational rookie, Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges makes the All-Star team for the East Conference. And those are your backups in the backcourt. The backups in the front court, we'll start with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid makes the Eastern Conference Globetrotters as a backup, along with Rudy Gobert. So we'll bring Rudy Gobert in. And Domantas Sabonis is your other backup for the front court for the Eastern Conference. So those are your Eastern Conference backups. Bridges, Embiid, Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Domantas Sabonis, Ben Simmons, and Trae Young. Now for the West Coast backups. And I'm going to do something a little bit different this time, just for purposes of demonstration. And we're going to multi-select, and instead of dragging guys over one at a time, we'll drag them all over at once. Starting with the backcourt backups, Kawhi Leonard makes the team for the West. So we will select Kai, and we're not going to drag him yet, but we're going to go get the next guy, DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan. I'm going to hold the control key and select DeRozan. So now we've got DeRozan selected and we've got Leonard selected. Also making the backup roster for the Western Conference in the backcourt, DeAndre Fox. I think I got his name wrong. De'Aaron Fox. So control click on De'Aaron Fox. And finally, Devin Booker makes the team as a backup. So we'll just go ahead and slide all four of those over into the West Coast now. And you can see we got all four of the backups there. And that's a little quicker than dragging each individual guy from the free agent pool to the roster. Now the front court backups, starting right here at the top of the alphabet, we've got Bam Adebayo. And the other two, we got to go all the way to the end to pick up. Those being Karl Anthony Towns and Jonas Valanciunas. So those are your backups for the Western Conference. So the backups are intact for both teams. Adebayo, Booker, DeRozan, De'Aaron Fox, Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jonas Valanciunas. Now for your starters. For the Eastern Conference, your starting point guard is from the Beartooth Bruins, Chris Paul. Chris Paul is your starting point guard for the Eastern Conference. At the shooting guard for the Eastern Conference, out of Phoenix, perhaps you've heard of this guy, playing for the LA Lakers in real life. His name is LeBron James. LeBron James headed to the Eastern Conference starting lineup. At the small forward, from the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum. Can't remember offhand who he plays for in the Midwest Basketball League, but he is going to the starting lineup. And of course, the two main men inside, both from the hyphens, the Fuquay Varina hyphens, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic are your starting power forward and center respectively. And we will drag those guys over. Control click and drag. And now our Eastern Conference roster is complete. Once again, your starting lineups. At point guard, Chris Paul. At shooting guard, LeBron James. At the small forward, Jason Tatum. At the power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And at the center position, Nikola Jokic. Now your starters for the Western Conference. At the point guard, out of Golden State, it is Stephen Curry. And his backcourt mate out of Dallas is Luka Doncic. So that will be a heck of a backcourt combination. Starting at the small forward position is Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine makes the team as the small forward. He'll be joined at the forward position by Nikola Vucevic. And at the center position, a former member of the Nature Boys, unfortunately, who I let slip, Julius Randle. So those are your starters for the West Conference, and the West Conference roster is complete. Once again, your starters: Stephen Curry and Luka Doncic in the backcourt. At the forwards, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. And at the center position, Julius Randle. So now the rosters are complete. The last thing I will do is create the backup file, the BBK file that you see. And simply you go to League, you go to Backup League. And we don't have any import, export, or summary files to create. We simply have the league file. And you give it a name. I keep all my stuff in a MBL home directory, League 21-22, and this will be MBL 21-22 All-Star Game. And the backup is complete. I will send this out to the owners tonight, and we will get our starting lineups and our strategies ready to roll for Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central Time here on the channel as we bring to you the 2022 Midwest Basketball League All-Star Game. Hope to see you all then.